What's up, guys? It is Chris back with another watch video, and today we are taking a look at Zelos, and we're doing a review of the Mako version 3. This is the full Meteorite version that has a Meteorite dial and a Meteorite bezel insert. And I've actually gotten some questions on this. The bezel insert is definitely Meteorite. It is just a different finish from the dial, or at least it appears to be a different finish. This is definitely something new from Zelos that they've started to do. I believe the first one was the Hammerhead, and they put a insert, and honestly I think the insert works. I have not noticed any issues with it. It looks great, and it definitely gives the watch a very different look from any other watch that I've reviewed on the channel or even worn. It looks really, really cool with that insert. Now, Zelos have really improved their watches over the last few watches that I've reviewed. The Swordfish version 2 is excellent. They upgraded a lot of different things on that watch. Case finishing and the bracelet, and even the clasp, which was an issue at first, but they've since corrected it, and it is an amazing, amazing watch. Then I got my hands on the Hammerhead version 2, which I absolutely love. I love that watch. I've been wearing it a lot. And the case finishing and bracelet on that are an extreme upgrade, even from the Swordfish. And that upgrade continues with the Mako 3. Very, very much on par with the new style of finishing that Zelos is doing on their watches. This watch in particular, when this is the stainless steel version, obviously, you could see all the different polishing edges on here, and there's some flat brushed areas, and there's chamfered edges. There is no sharp points. The bracelet is smooth. The entire watch is really, really very nicely finished, and really, this watch in general, the Mako, has some excellent specs, and I think this should be a really good seller for Zelos because it is a crowd pleaser. 40 millimeters wide. You have a 20 millimeter lug width, which is great for putting on aftermarket straps if you want. A very tight 46 millimeter lug to lug, and 11.5 millimeters thick. However, with the sapphire crystal here, which is domed, I think it's about 2.5 millimeters thick. You get around 13 millimeters thickness overall. The sapphire crystal is domed and slightly boxed. And like I said, on this specific watch, the version 3, there has been a lot of upgrades. There's been upgrades to the actual dial itself. The applied indices are a little bit less cluttered than the version 2, I would say. Although they are actually larger, there are less of them because of the indices at 12, 3, and 9 have been cleaned up. Also, the watch is overall thinner than the version 2 because of the Miyota movement that's being used in this watch, and that is the Miyota 9015. So you have a thinner movement, which normally Miyotas are a little bit noisy, but since this is a 300 meter dive watch, no longer a 500 meter, but 300 meter dive watch, that is perfectly fine. You really can't hear the rotor moving on the Miata Movement at all. A lot of really cool attention to detail, 120 click bezel, and we're going to listen to that. Everything lines up perfectly, and it looks and feels really, really nice. It sounds incredible, as you could hear, and it's one of those things that you get with a Zelos. You expect it now. Incredible bezel action, no play in that bezel whatsoever. Also, this clasp, it just sounds really good. It's really nice and tapered at the clasp. The bracelet tapers down from 20 millimeters to about 18 millimeters. The blue applied indices with tons and tons of C3 X1 Loom BGW9. You get that in the bezel, on the chapter ring, on the indices, on the hands, on the crown. You're getting tons and tons of loom. Yet another thing that Zelos is becoming sort of known for in general. And you know, the stainless steel bracelet, obviously 316 stainless steel, is custom made for Zelos. There is a little bit of micro adjust in here. It's extremely comfortable and very, very well made. Just a quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing my Vacheron Overseas World Time. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put on the Zelos, and you could see this is actually a smaller watch than the, I love that sound, a smaller watch than the Vacheron. This is 40 millimeters, and you can see it fits really, really nicely on my 7.5-inch wrist. We will do a loom shot towards the end, just so you could see exactly what I'm talking about with this loom. It is bonkers. It is bright, and it is really, really just overall very impressive. So I love the watch. I love the blued hands. I love the blued indices. I love that it has a signed loom crown. I love that it has the Meteorite not only on the bezel, but I mean not only on the dial, but also the bezel. I love that it has a very different look from your typical micro brands. They really do an excellent job at doing something different from the general, you know, Submariner-esque looking watch. You have a really nice scissor clasp, fits over the wrist very easily, no issues whatsoever, and I keep on opening and closing that clasp because it sounds so good. Now, there are just a few things that I would say I would improve on the watch. In general, visibility of the lettering on the actual bezel itself isn't so great because of the colors of the numbers that were used. It kind of washes out just a little bit. That doesn't actually bother me at all. I really like the look of the bezel. In general, it doesn't really bother me. And I guess the only other little gripe I would say is the case back is a little bit unfinished. It's not as smooth as it was on the Hammerhead. Again, something you really wouldn't notice otherwise, but it is just slightly unfinished. And I really like the back of this watch. I think it looks really, really nice. But that's just a little bit of a complaint. But other than that, I paid $549 for a watch with double Meteorite, a bracelet. The bracelet was actually $49 extra. So $600 in total. You're getting a watch with, you know, straps in a box with a watch roll, Meteorite. It's 300 meters. Really, there aren't many watches out there that you can get with all of these details and something that's completely original when you're wearing it on your wrist. It doesn't look like any other watch. It really, really does impress people who know about watches and in general, people who collect watches. You could see this watch is really, really just impressive. And one of the other things that I really like about this watch is the crown action. The crown is extremely smooth when you're opening the watch. When you're opening the crown to wind the watch or set the time, it is very, very smooth. It hacks, it hand winds because of the Miyota movement, and it, in general, just is very, very smooth operation of the watch. Beyond that, I have to say, the Loom is probably one of the best that I've seen, even from Zelos. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to shut off the lights so you can see the Loom on this watch. It's absolutely incredible. I put a picture of this watch, a Loom shot of this watch on my Instagram, and someone said to me, wow, you probably need a hazmat suit when you're lighting up that Loom, and it's really just that incredible. So anyway, let me give you a quick Loom shot of this watch, and we'll go from there. And here it is. I mean, seriously, this is insane. The crown looks bright. It's I'm not even charging it that much. I just charge it just a little bit with my UV light, and there you go. You can see it ticking away. Even the lollipop is loomed. The bezel is completely loomed. That inner chapter ring loomed. All the hands and that crown. It's not even that dark in here, and it's bright as hell. It is insane, the loom on this watch. Anyway, I love this watch. I really think Zelos is doing something great. They're really improving with every single iteration of these watches. They're not just resting and saying, okay, we've made a really cool watch, let's just keep selling it as it is. No, they're going back to the drawing board. They're doing things over again, listening to feedback from not only reviewers but from people in the Zelos Timekeepers Facebook group, and from Instagram and all of these different outlets, and they're improving on the watches continually, and you can see that with every single iteration of these watches. This is, like I said, the version 3, and this is a big step up from the version 2. I cannot imagine if they came out with a version 4 what it would be, because this watch is fabulous. Anyway, if you like this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Also, add a comment below. Tell me what you think of this watch. Super important. I really want to hear from you guys. Tell me what you think of this watch, what you think of Zelos and what they're doing and how hard they're working on improving in general. I think it's absolutely great. So please leave a comment below. And thank you for logging on.